In today's video, I want to show you an amazing tool that you can use to find out how much your home can generate you in passive income if you were to list it on short-term rental. Now, as I mentioned in my last video, my wife and I are actually looking to buy our first Airbnb investment property in Vilnius. And of course, in order for that to make sense, to run the financial models as to how much we can earn versus how much we're going to be paying in mortgage, obviously we need to understand how much we can earn in income, right, from the property. So it's very difficult to guesstimate how much you can actually generate. Now, obviously, you can go on Airbnb and see prices around the neighborhood where you plan to buy, so you get a rough idea, but I don't know how much they're actually booked, right? And using a tool like I'm going to show you in a second, which is actually probably the leading tool in that space, you can get much better insights into market occupancy, how busy the market is, how much the rates are, what is the seasonality. So it's very useful and helped us in making our projections as to how much we can expect to generate with the property. Then we know how much we're going to spend in costs. And then obviously we're going to factor in our mortgage, and then we can calculate how much we're going to be left with on a monthly profit. Hopefully it's going to be a profit. That's the idea of investment property, to make more from it than what you pay in the mortgage. Despite the high interest rate at the moment, we're quite confident that we can generate that. At the same time, we can still use the property ourselves whenever we want to. We can move there, in summer, what have you, to enjoy it a little bit, live the city life, and otherwise we just put it out for rent. So I think depending where you live, it can be very attractive to definitely give it a go. And even if you've never considered Airbnb before, definitely check it out. It's free of charge to begin with. Obviously, there is a paid plan if you want more details, but the free plan does give you a good idea of what you could be expecting if you were to list it on short-term rentals. All right, so here we are. The website is called AirDNA. I mean, pretty cool name, almost like Airbnb. And obviously, it's a separate company. They're not related to each other. But as it says over here, powered by VRBO and Airbnb data from over 10 million global listings, they are the #1 leading platform for short-term rental intelligence. So they really pull in all the market data and really give you good insights of what to expect when you list your property on short-term rentals. So I think if you have any plans for that, or just want to see, what potentially you could get out of it, I think it's a really interesting tool to definitely use. To start with, you can put any market where you live, let's say Dubai, but obviously you need to register for your account first. That's free of charge. Once you do that, you will get a lot of insights into the market. But later on, if you want even more, obviously you need to subscribe. Since we're very serious and close to actually buying our first property, I went ahead and subscribed for 1 month for one market, which costs around 36 euros, which I think is really reasonable. And later on, I will probably cancel it. But just in the beginning, to get some insights and make your projections, I think is super powerful. And as you can see over here, very straightforward, very simple interface. Obviously, you can look for any markets where you're in. In my case, I'm in Vilnius in Lithuania, beautiful place. If you haven't been, definitely check it out. Amazing city, love it. But if I want to see other cities, I could also put this over here. Let's say Dubai, obviously, and then I get some general insights into the market. Let me change the currency over here to US dollars. So you can see a rough estimate of what it is. But you can see, obviously, if you scroll down, quite a few things are a little bit hidden away. So it does give you some really good insights, overall top level insights into what it is for the market itself. But obviously, once you go into occupancy, let's say, it's locked away. So for that, you would have to buy it if you click on purchase, and you can see obviously per city, a different price, etc. So you can buy that over here. But obviously, I bought only for the city I'm interested in. One tab that is for free though is the rentalize, and that's actually really good. So even if you're not subscribed, you can use that. If, for example, you want to buy an apartment in Dubai Marina, you can just click it over here. You can even put the exact street where you live just to try it out. I mean, it's really cool. And it will pull in some data over there from that neighborhood. Again, you can drill down to a specific street. Let's say you have a 2-bedroom with 1 bathroom and it can accommodate up to 4 guests. Always very important to make sure, even though you only have 1 bed, make sure you have a couch that can be folded out and can accommodate 2 additional people, because if you can accommodate 4 guests, definitely you can charge significantly more for your property. So then you want to go ahead, click on update, and then it will show you roughly for that area what you can expect in revenue. Obviously the daily rate as well, and average occupancy. Once again, obviously, if you want more insights over there, you should subscribe, but you do get a good rough estimate. And then you can see also here what you can expect in rental property. And then, for example, you could say your purchase price for the property was 300,000, and it will generate a couple of things for you, your cap rate, and then you can edit some of the details to say your management fees. Usually Airbnb takes 15%, your lodging tax obviously might be 0, property tax, let's say, I don't know, it depends where you are, but let's say in the case of Dubai, it's 1%, you might have some cleaning, and whatever it is, obviously you go through and you can easily see, okay, I have operating expenses of 7K in the year, but my net operating income might be 43,000. Once again, it's a rough estimate, but it gives you a good idea whether it makes sense to go ahead with short-term rental Or, if you get in the long-term rental for that property 50,000, now obviously it's a no-brainer, right? You're gonna have less headache, less management, etc. So it's just a good starting point for you to see whether it makes sense to go ahead with short-term rental or you're better off with a long-term lease. But let's go back to my market, which is Vilnius, where we are looking at. And from here, you really get some great insights. The market grade overall, it rates it on various things like seasonality, regulation. It's also a big thing because a lot of cities in Western Europe, it's very difficult, a lot of restrictions. I understand in the UK, you can only rent it for certain days a year, your short-term rental, which is quite limiting, so it may not make financial sense for you. Here, there's quite more flexibility for that. You can see the average daily rate, how it fluctuates, the occupancy rates. Obviously, there's a bit of seasonality here, and the overall revenue per month. Now, that's obviously for the market itself. And then on the map, you can quickly see where the properties are. Obviously, most of them are in city center. That's very common for Airbnb properties. People want to stay in the city center. You can see overall what's happening. 1,700 active rentals over there, mostly entire homes, a couple of private rooms. Most of it is listed in Airbnb. A little bit on VRBO. I'm personally not using that, but I believe in the US it's a little bit stronger. Some of them also listed on booking.com, so they're not including booking.com here, but still Airbnb probably is the biggest player when it comes to short-term rental. Rental size, also you get an idea, studios are not that many, 1 bedroom, a lot. And then you can decide, do you want to go after niche and maybe go after 3 or 4 bedroom where there might be demand but very little supply. So that's something to keep in mind as well. The rental growth over time, very interesting. Who are the top property managers? Because after a while, you may not be interested in managing it yourself. You can go over here, see who are the big players and then contact them and ask them for a quotation, how much they would take in order to manage your property. Usually it's anywhere from 20 to 30%. So, depending on your numbers, it may make financial sense to take some headache away from you with all the logistics, cleaning, organizing, key delivery, etc. Or whether you think, well, actually, I'd rather do it myself and, have more profit at the end of it. Then also good to see the amenities, what most of them are offering. So for example, air conditioning, not many properties have. And actually this summer it's extremely hot, and living in an apartment myself without an AC, I can definitely say it's super important. So I know when we buy the property, we're going to make sure it's going to have AC. Obviously it's going to set us apart from other properties, and it's something guests really appreciate. And then some of the overall Airbnb ratings, rental activities, and some of the settings that people have, cancellation policy, minimum stay. Most people have at least 1 night, some of them has 2 nights, etc. So you get a good insight. Then you can click into occupancy also and see here the occupancy development, by month for 1 year period, and see obviously the low occupancy period, meaning the amount of travelers coming into the city and staying in Airbnbs, obviously less in winter period, higher in summer period. So that's something good to keep in mind because you want to do your pricing accordingly. If it's less busy, obviously you want to have a bit more attractive rates so that more people will book you. The same with activity listing, how it develops over time. Booking demand, that's also interesting. It takes the actual bookings from those platforms and shows it over here, how it develops. Once again, you see the sort of seasonality there. Then we can also click into rates, and here you can also have filters depending on what property you have, entire place, the professionally managed, etc., the ratings, apartment, so on. So you can really filter to get a better idea specifically for your property, what it is, etc. And yes, already you see a difference in the pricing. Let me change it back to euros. If I click that over here, quite a difference if you have the entire place professionally managed versus luxury property, because that's also different in terms of the interior design, right? Some places are very basic. If you have amazing design, great pictures, and some amenities, you can immediately charge more for it per night. And here you see also how the price has been increasing over time, which is good to see. But then once again, a little bit of seasonality in between there. And lastly, we go to revenue, which is basically the combination of occupancy and rate. If you multiply that together times a number of days, that's what you get as an owner, as a landlord, basically for your property. So once again, you can drill down as per your filters. But in this very example, you can see here, some month, some properties do 3.6 thousand euros, and that's around 50% of the market. If I go to the 90th top percentile, you can see some months are even over 4,000 in revenue for that property. So most likely they're really gonna profit quite nicely, manage to pay their mortgage and pocket the profit on top of it. So that's really good to see. That's really powerful if you're running your numbers, because if for example your mortgage is 3,000 euros and you down here because you have a more budget property where you expect to make 1,000 euros, obviously you're running a net loss on your property, which is cash flow negative. It's not the end of the world because you're still paying off your mortgage and obviously building up equity. But if you want to use it as a pure investment property where you generate more, then that helps you to run the number and understand, does that property make sense for me or no? And if it doesn't, well, then move on and look for another one. They also have a cool feature called Smart Rates, where they see the market, what's happening, where the pricing is, and then obviously you can connect your own property and they advise your pricing. But probably in the beginning, I will do that with Airbnb. Once we have the property, you can sign it up with Airbnb. They have a feature that does that automatically, where you can set a price floor, the lowest price you want to have, And the highest price, obviously there is never a highest price, so you just set your price floor, the lowest minimum price, and then Airbnb automatically suggests your pricing depending on competition, seasonality, etc. So I don't think you need to use that tool for that, but if you wanted to, you could obviously. Another really cool feature is top properties, which I really like. So once again, you put the city where you are, you say, for example, the entire home, 1 bedroom, let's say 1 bedroom over here. You select accommodates, up to 4 people. As I always recommend, definitely go for 4. Less than that is really limiting. And then you will see here some of the top properties with their criteria that generate the money. So you can see here, top property right now brings in around 60,000 euros per year. Average rate 227, 52 reviews, and you can even click on it, Airbnb, and it pull up that listing so you can see what's happening, where it's located, etc. Get some ideas about the pictures, how they take the pictures, some of the amenities they include. And yeah, when I go down over here, in August, pretty much the entire month is booked. September, already half the month. Even October, some of the months. So yeah, looks like they're definitely busy. When you go into the reviews, you see 52 reviews, and that doesn't mean they had 52 bookings. A lot of people leave without leaving a review, right? That could mean that they had significantly more bookings in the past. So it's a really good tool to see who's really doing well in the market. 60,000 in a year with a 1 bed, 1 bathroom. Honestly, that's really nice. That's 5,000 euros per month in revenue, rental income, so to say. I mean, that's really, really nice. But then obviously that's an outlier when you see some of the other properties. The average is around 30, 25. That's still very good. It's most likely more than you would get with a traditional long-term lease. But once again, it's something for you to see. Some of the properties might be at the higher end, etc. You can see on the map where they're located. So I really like that feature to get an idea of what's happening. You can also do a market comparison in case you plan to invest in different cities. But once again, that's only paid if you pay for different cities also. Right now, I can only see Vilnius, so I have to pay for other markets if I wanted to compare. But I'm very clear on which market I want to invest in. So for me, that's not really relevant. And there you have it, guys. I really think it's a powerful tool, very useful. If you've never tried it out, definitely play a little bit around with it, put your own property address, just the street address, see what it spits out. I mean, I think it's quite interesting just to get an idea of what it could potentially be worth. Doesn't mean you have to put on short-term rental. You might lease it out if you're the landlord, but it's just interesting to see how much a property can generate in the city where you live. And as I said in my previous video, then the idea could be about Airbnb arbitrage, where you rent and sub-rent it on Airbnb, or you potentially think about buying your own property as an investment property, what we are thinking, and then generate more from that short-term rental property on Airbnb or Booking.com or any other platform. Then you pay on the mortgage rate, which is possible even in the high interest rate environment we're in at the moment. And then from that, you can actually start growing more and more properties in the future. Just today, I met a gentleman that I wrote to actually on Airbnb that has a property nearby. I wrote to him, reached out to him on LinkedIn. We met for a coffee. I just picked his brain, how it's actually going with this listing and how he's feeling about it. And he was super, super happy about it. He said he's definitely making much more money through Airbnb than he would get on the long-term lease. And at the same time, he lives abroad a few months in a year. He comes back to Lithuania. Then obviously he blocks it because he stays himself in the property. And when he leaves again, he puts it back up. People rent the place and everybody's happy. So that's a really cool idea. For me, it's very inspiring and definitely something I want to try out. I don't know if it will work. Maybe it will fail. And then we go back to long-term rent. Remains to be seen. And I'll definitely keep you updated on the process and future videos. Next up, check out this video over here. I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, please give a like, subscribe to the channel. It means the world to me. As always, guys, stay healthy, get wealthy, and I'll see you in the next one. Ciao.